If your handicap is over 12, there are two reasons that you are stuck. One is that open club face leading to that over-the-top swing. Of course, that common big slice with driver. It can also result in a pull to the left when you get to those short irons. Same cause, that over-the-top swing, two totally different misses. The other big problem here is what I call the hang back flip move. Okay, and this is where you don't trust the loft of the club to get the ball airborne. So you make this move where you hang back here, flip at it, kind of hit up at it, which can result in chunk shots with those short irons where you hit behind it and the club digs, or those top shots with the hybrids and the fairway woods where you hang back, brush the ground, catch it on the upswing. You can hit it thin, top it, just overall, usually really poor contact. So if that is you, stick with me here because I am going to lay out the most straightforward, common sense plan for fixing it. So the first thing, let's start with that open club face and what it causes, okay? So everybody, when you first start playing golf, I guarantee you this was you. You struggled with an open club face through impact, and really, really quickly when you first start playing, your subconscious says, okay, if that club face is going to be open for a right-handed player aimed right, well, I had better jump in and do something to save the shot. So you don't have that path awareness, but you have the club face awareness when you first start playing. So your subconscious jumps in and says, if the ball's going to turn that way, I had better make some kind of move to get it started over here. So when it does turn that way, at least I have some kind of playable shot. Okay, that's what happens to absolutely everybody when they first start playing golf. That's what happened to me. It happened to you when you first started playing golf. That's how we really early in our golf developed this over-the-top swing, right? So the important thing to recognize about this over-the-top swing is that it is a response to the open club face. The over-the-top swing, all it means is for a right-hand player, club pass going left of target. But it's a response to your face being open or aimed right of target. Okay, so that's really important to understand. What it means is that fixing that over-the-top swing that's so common is actually not the first step to fixing the over-the-top swing, right? The first step to fixing the over-the-top swing is fixing that open club face. So what's the first step to fixing that open club face? And it is to go to and adopt what I call a strong grip here. Has nothing to do with grip pressure. All this is it will produce a stronger, more penetrating ball flight. That's what strong refers to. It refers to the ball flight, not the grip pressure, okay? So open club face, weak grip where this hand's turned way over this way on the grip of the club. Just feel it. If you turn your hand over towards the target on the grip of the club face wants to stay open, doesn't want to turn over. That's a weak grip, okay? What that's going to result in is if I get that weak grip going here, I'm going to swing over the top, and what you're going to end up getting here is that one right there, right? That's an exceptionally weak slice right there, and I kind of chunked it along the way too with my steep over the top swing down into it. But that's what you're going to get with that kind of typical kind of weaker side grip. Okay, so we want to go to what's called a strong grip, which is where you put the club out in the fingers of this hand, pinch the lead thumb and forefinger together here, pinch that lead thumb and forefinger together, put that thumb over on the trail side of the grip. You should be able to see that third knuckle on the back of your lead hand when you look down. Now that is a strong grip that's going to help you square up the club face, right? Strong grip's going to help you square up the club face. Now, when you combine it with these other changes, because there are a couple of other changes, and these are right now what I'm telling you here are all the step one changes in my program. And I'm going to go through all this. I'm not trying to hold anything back on you here or anything, but if you really want to learn this and you want to learn it step by step in an order that really makes sense and have these lessons to come back to and refer to over and over, I'll put a link in the description below. You can learn the first part completely free, 5 free lessons that teach you the first piece to all this. But right now I'm just going through exactly what you learn in step one of my program. So this is the setup that you will learn, and this is where what we do here is the next change that we want to make in addition. So the strong grip is going to help you square up the club face. The next thing we want to do is position the ball in the center of your stance, okay? Because you're making that hang back flip move, right? If you're playing that ball forward, you're hanging back and flipping. Essentially what you're doing is you're playing the ball forward and the bottom of your swing arc's back here. So we are just going to move that ball back towards where the bottom of the swing arc is occurring anyway, okay? So that is the next change. We go to that strong grip to help with that open club face. Now we position the ball in the center of your stance instead of in that forward position, and that helps you make solid contact a lot more often. Now, the next piece to this, the third piece to this to really realize is that when you have that open club face and you have that over the top swing and you start to develop that fade or that slice, the next thing that happens is that your shoulders start to get open at setup to allow for, like we talked about, this is your subconscious going, okay, if my face is going to be open, I better get the ball started over here. So you start to get those shoulders more and more open here at setup. And I see so many players who walk in, now they've got that weak grip, they've got that forward ball position, they've got the shoulders aimed way over here. So now you're almost set up for like a flop shot type of thing here, right? So when you swing, when you've got that weak grip, the face is going to be open, shoulders are over here, so you're already going to be swinging left of target. Now that face is open, ball position forward. Just so many bad things happen from there. So that's why the next piece of this is what I call the shoulder preset move, okay? And this is where we pull this lead shoulder in a little bit at setup. And what that does is instead of your shoulders being open, encouraging that over the top downswing path, pulling this lead shoulder in is going to help you swing that path more from the inside. When you combine it with going to that stronger grip and having the confidence that the club face is going to square up, then you position that ball more in the center of the stance. These three things come together like magic and really produce great results. They've helped 20,000 players already just get results really quickly just by making these three changes. So that is the first leg of step one. Let me take you through this little routine right here and just hit one. So now I'm going to walk in here and I'm going to get here and I'm going to go feet together, ball right in the center of my stance. Now I'm going to take this little shoulder preset move, pull this lead shoulder in just a little bit. Now I'm going to take that good strong grip. Now I just take equal steps apart here. Now I've got the ball position centered. I've got the strong grip that's going to square up the club face, and I've got my shoulders square at setup here. So now I am ready to go ahead and hit that nice little draw that we want there. So that is, and I'm just going through these step one changes. If you want access to all of this in the member site, in a way, the lessons are like 3 minutes and they take you through all of this stuff so that you can kind of fly through the information, pick up where you left off really easily, come back to these lessons over and over. So that's just the first piece though here, okay? So the next piece is driver. And driver sets up everything. To me, I feel like if I'm hitting driver well, I'm playing real golf, right? So I think we all kind of feel that way. If I'm hitting driver well, I'm playing real golf. You know, I'm not out there kind of trying to, hit an iron off the tee or something to keep it in play. And there's a place for that, but there's also a place for really having that confidence with driver. And I have two very specific methods that I teach that are totally different based on the kind of player you are. Over 30 years of teaching this game, what I have, and this is something that just in the last few years has really dawned on me. I'm a slow learner. It takes a while to learn some of these things. But so what I have really come to learn is that you have two totally distinct kind of players, and the approach that they should take to driver is completely different. So number one, you have maybe that athletic older player or that younger player who has no balance issues and can get all the way up onto this trail toe in this kind of tour player style finish, right? So their method for hitting driver is going to be different than the other kind of player. And so many players have balance issues, and they're just going to they can't get all the way up onto this toe, and they can't make this full up onto that toe finish. I call this the senior swing. If you can't get this full body rotation, you can still get that whip of the club, and you can get a lot of power just from this little move right here. So I want to take you through these two methods. The first one I call ALSR, aim left, swing right. With this one, what you do is you aim as far left as you can be without being in trouble. So for me, it's kind of the left edge of this lake over here. And what you want to do, because the problem with driver is it's the least lofted club in the bag, makes it the most difficult to square up at impact, right? So we have to play these subconscious tricks with our mind to give ourselves the confidence that the club face is going to square up at impact, which allows us to then, instead of swinging way over the top, it allows us to swing that club path more from the inside on the downswing. So that's what this is. It's a little subconscious trick that you play on your mind to give your brain the confidence that the club face is going to square up at impact, so that you don't swing so over the top as a compensation for an open club face. All right, so let me take you through this here. And this is, we're going to step in, feet together, aim the face, good strong grip, square up the stance. Now we feel like that club face is going to turn over so we can swing along our yellow lines there. Boy, that was a good feeling. That one had some hang time right there. I didn't even feel like I hardly swung at it. And it had some crazy hang time there. That was a good feeling shot. So that's your method for the player who's striving for that big tour player finish. Now, I always have trouble with this one when I'm demonstrating this because I have to finish flat-footed, which I don't normally do. Okay, so now this one is a little bit, not a little bit different, it's quite a bit different. So when we walk in here, now we're going to start with the ball in the center right here. Take that good strong grip. When we take our steps, we're going to step this back foot a little bit in so that our stance is just a little bit closed, and we're going to flare this foot out a little bit here. This is going to facilitate that big turn so the hands can get deeper behind. Now we don't have to worry about swinging from the inside on the downswing. All we have to worry about is getting the hands to really roll over. So we are going in here and we're going feet together, aim the face, good strong grip right here. Now we're going to step this foot forward a little bit, this one in a little bit. Now I don't have to worry about the turn. I'm going to make a big turn and the hands are going to get deep here. All I have to worry about is just trying to be kind of fast with these hands and really whipping the toe of the club past the heel of the club here. Ooh. Oh, I was supposed to not finish. That's what I was saying. I have trouble not finishing up on that toe. I always forget. Let me grab another ball and show the flat-footed finish with that. All right, so here we go. Got another ball. Now we're going flat-footed. Same thing here, but flat-footed finish, right? So, good, strong grip. Stepping our feet, flaring this one. Now I got to keep that back foot flat and really use the hands to turn it over and get that pop on the shot right here. There we go. And that one's I mean, it almost went as far as the other one. It kind of went right towards that bunker on the right and didn't quite turn over, but it was struck very solidly and was trying to get that little hint of draw on it, but it was pretty much just dead straight. So, you know, you'll have to work on the timing of the hands and really getting the hands to roll over if you want to go with that option. So those are the two driver methods. Now I just want to talk real quickly here about one more piece to this. I'm going to grab a different club. All right, and again, all I'm doing is I'm going through all of these step one changes. And again, I will put the link below, and you should start with those 5 free lessons that teach you the first piece to this. So we just talked about irons, how you're going to strike those irons better with those changes that we talked about. Now we talked about 2 methods for driver that are distinctly different. You got to pick one of those and you really have to stick with it. Now I want to talk to you about a little bit of short game, because this is another piece of step one, because I find so many players have such scoring opportunities that they're missing out on because they're just trying to hit these shots that are way, way harder than they need to be. So this first change is a chipping change here, right? And I have a sand wedge. When I went to grab a wedge, I grabbed a sand wedge automatically. That's probably what you do too. Let me go grab a different club here because that's part of this. All right, now I've got an 8-iron here. So BLT is the chipping style that I teach, because so many players, when you have that less lofted club like that sand wedge that I just had, you're gonna end up, same thing, you know, we call it the stop the hips flip move. You're gonna end up flipping back here. What does that do? It causes you to either chunk these when you hit behind it right here, right? Or what I just did right there, blade it, right? And it's all caused by the same thing. It's that flipping with the hands through impact. So many players trying to hit a higher shot than is called for or necessary when you're up around the green. I'm talking about when you're, you know, maybe within 15 feet of the green, maybe 20 feet of the green. Everybody trying to hit these higher, softer landing shots. And in so many cases, what you can do is you can take a less lofted club, you can, BLT, play that ball. I'm gonna put it right on this line right here so you can kind of see this. Put this ball in the back of your stance. Feet are gonna be pretty close together here. That's the B, ball in the back of the stance. The L is the weight on the lead foot here, okay? So we got the ball in the back, weight on the lead, BL, and the T is the shaft of the club tilted towards the target, because we wanna take that loft off. Our goal here is to get this ball on the ground, rolling like a putt quickly, and this little chipping stroke is just really a putting stroke with a 8-iron instead of, and it could be a pitching wedge, it doesn't matter, but most players just playing that more lofted wedge, that 56, that 60-degree lob wedge, in these situations where there's no call for a high shot. All a high shot does is makes you have to make a bigger swing, because if it's gonna go high, you've got to make a big swing. With this 8-iron, if I have 50 feet onto the green, I can cover that distance literally with a swing of this length. I can hit it 50 feet with a swing of that length. If I'm trying to hit it 50 feet with a lob wedge, it's gonna take a swing of this length, right? And then that things start to get messy when the swing gets longer than it needs to be and the ball starts going higher in the air than it needs to go. So you can shave a lot of strokes with this BLT chipping method without even making any change to your chipping stroke. The last piece that I want to talk about here is the putting routine, okay? So the putting routine is it's another one of these opportunities for you to shave strokes really quickly. And what I'm talking about here is on those longer putts, okay? So the lag putts, and this is where everybody struggles with distance control. Let me grab my putter here. All right, so now let's talk that lag putting. This is so important because this is where all the 3 putts happen. If you hit it the right distance, you can get the line just a little off and you're fine. But if you leave it 15 feet short or hit it 10 feet past, you're gonna be 3-putting a lot, right? So, and what I find is that most players can just immediately flip a switch on having better distance control just through a little pre-shot routine that I teach. This is all step 1 stuff. You can get the 5 free lessons below that teach you the first piece, then you'll get a special offer to get all of step 1 that you can come back to over and over. It's super practical advice. I highly recommend that you go do that. So the putting routine, what I teach here is when you are getting ready to hit this putt, I want you to look at the spot that you're putting the ball to. And we talk about some little mind tricks where you can, if you have a slow putt, uphill, you would pick out a spot that you're putting to a couple feet past. If you have a faster downhill putt, you pick out a spot on this side of the actual hole. And those are some little mind tricks that you can play with this. But once you picked out your spot, I want you to look at that spot. And the whole key here is you look at that spot and you make 4 practice strokes without stopping in between and without looking away from that target or that spot that you picked out that you're putting to. So what this does is automatically, as you're looking at that, your length of stroke adjusts to what your eye sees, right? So if I'm looking at it and I make my first one and it's like, whoa, that's not gonna get it there. Now my stroke's gonna naturally start to lengthen based on what my eye is seeing there. So I find that so many players can just instantly flip a switch on making some progress with avoiding those 3 putts, with getting better with their distance control, just through a little routine like that, that will help you get the distance right. If you get the distance right, your next one's gonna be a lot shorter putt, even if you miss the line a little bit, and you're gonna 3 putt a lot less. So, and that's just part of step 1. I mean, there's 10 more lessons that I didn't even get to here. Things like practice at home, why it's so critical that you get into the practice at home habit. You probably have experience. The driving range is generally a waste of time. You go out there, almost every session out there turns into trying to correct ball flight from one swing to another. Try this, try that kind of practice sessions. And you can't cram this stuff. You've got to do a little bit every day. And what matters isn't how long you practice when you practice. What matters is how often you practice, how often you're reinforcing these things that we were just talking about here. So that is it, man. This is a long one. I had no idea how long this would be, but I was just like, I'm going to share everything here. So if all of this is making sense to you, and this sounds like a practical plan to really make some huge changes to your game. I've seen players literally shave 5 strokes in 30 days off their average score just through these things that we were talking about. So I'll put the link below. You can get the first piece free, those first 5 free lessons. Then you'll get a really great special offer to get the rest of step 1. If not, you can keep coming back to this lesson over and over. It's all the same stuff. And but it might help to have access to it in a member site with a lot shorter lessons that are a lot easier to move through. No matter what, I hope that you learned something here that sticks in your mind, that's gonna help you really shoot those lower scores and have more fun out on the course.